Tamara Alrifai is the spokeswoman for UNRWA. She joins us from Amman in Jordan. Tamara, who's not providing the money and why?
Well, why don't we say that a lot of countries are providing money, but what they're providing is not sufficient for the budget that UNRWA requires to be able to run full-fledged schooling systems, health centers, social protection, housing services. So while we have a good group of committed and core donors, what they're providing collectively is not sufficient, and therefore we're looking at other donors, other regions for more support. Traditionally, our largest donors are the US, the EU, Germany, Canada, Japan, Norway, Switzerland, France. So we have a good group of donors. In the past, we've had several Arab donors amongst them, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, and the Emirates. Today, unfortunately, the funding from the Arab region has really decreased, although recently we've seen a slight uptick, and we're hoping that the Arab region will come back as a main contributing region to UNRWA, since most of the Palestine refugees, or all of the Palestine refugees that UNRWA provides services to, are in the region. So the stability of the region, the feeling of safety of these refugees are at stake if no collective efforts are put in place, especially now at the end of the year when our resources have sharply dropped.
So what are the conversations like with the Arab donor countries that are not pulling their weight right now financially?
The Arab donors are cognizant of how precarious the situation of UNRWA is. I must say that Qatar and Kuwait have been consistent donors to UNRWA. Saudi Arabia has just provided $27 million to UNRWA a couple of weeks ago. So the conversations are about the solidarity with Palestine refugees and the feeling of the refugees that they're not being abandoned by the Arabs. The conversations are conversations about the human rights of Palestine refugees, the right of Palestine refugee children to education, the right of everybody to universal health care. So the conversation is really about making sure that together there is global and regional solidarity with the refugees at the time when UNRWA, the UN Agency for Palestine Refugees, is suffering not only from chronic underfunding year after year, but acute underfunding now at the end of the year that might threaten our ability to continue providing all these basic critical services until the end of the year.
Do you feel perhaps that the donor community in particular, based on what you're saying, that the Arab donor community is becoming indifferent or just less committed to the Palestinian refugee cause?
What we feel is that globally, the attention to the Israel-Palestine conflict has really dropped, and consequently, the genuine interest in finding a long-term, fair and lasting solution to the conflict and to the issue of Palestine refugee is no longer on the global community's radar. Now, in the last 10 years, in particular in the Arab region, there have been so many additional crises with donor and media attention going to them that we feel that this has happened at the expense of supporting UNRWA and supporting one of the longest waiting vulnerable community of refugees in this region, and these are the Palestine refugees.
Tamara Alrifai, spokeswoman for UNRWA, thank you very much.